What is up, people of the internet? It is Dave, it is Duncan, back from Metal Epidemic for another album review. For this review, Duncan and I have been checking out the new album from Texas death metal quintet Tribal Gaze. The band's new album, Inveighing Brilliance, will be released on October 17th via Nuclear Blast Records. Arising from the scorched earth of Texas, Tribal Gaze return with Inveighing Brilliance, a death metal monolith shaped by ancient violence and unforgiving truth. Recently signed to Nuclear Blast Records, the band conjures visions of primal wrath and nihilistic clarity. A sound rooted in the rawness of old school death metal but sharpened with modern intent. From their name inspired by unseen forces watching from deep forests to the crushing weight of the rifts, Tribal Gaze channels something ancient, unknown, and violently present. Inveighing Brilliance is a meditation on the illusion of beauty in nature and existence and how it pertains to both Mother Nature and our wretched human society. Even in moments of light, brutality lurks. Eggs are stolen from nests, flesh is torn for survival. The album dissects this duality, revealing the suffering embedded in every living moment. With digital artwork by Dom Pabon, Final Resting Place, that evokes sci-fi decay and meditations of ancient ruin. The album looks and sounds like a lost realm where reality fractures under the pressure of its own contradictions. Their ascent to Nuclear Blast was anything but formulaic. After levelling stages on tour with Frozen Soul, the band caught the attention of legendary A&R Monty Connor, who waited outside a venue in New York just to share his admiration. That moment solidified a new chapter for Tribal Gaze, a label that values creative freedom and pushes bands to expand without dilution. With Inveighing Brilliance, they've done just that, stripped away illusion, stared into the abyss, and made it echo. The album was produced, engineered, and mixed by Taylor Young, then mastered by Nick Townsend. All right, so so we had a fair good time reviewing the album, Nine Choirs. Both of us scored it pretty highly. But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, how do they push that into the next level, Duncan? How do they
sign to Nuclear Blast? That's
well,
what
that's, I mean,
a step in the right direction.
That's that's a good start. Yeah, I think like this band, they don't necessarily deliver like death metal that is like breaking new ground. You know what I mean? It's like a lot of it is fairly tried and tested. They know exactly what they want to do, and they do it really well. But like, how do you move like into that next step? You know what I mean? Like, because they're not a band that are like about massive like technicality. They aren't like an Archspire or Nile type band. Like they have a level of technicality for sure, but it's not like the focus of their sound or their progression for each release. So I was interested to hear where this would go and how it would sound in comparison to the Nine Choirs. Now I know you're not like the biggest death metal guy, but you have a little kind of style or niche that you quite enjoy, and I know this band fits into that. So I was interested to hear, what do you think of the Nine Choirs? Sorry, what did you think of Tribal Gaze?
I've already reviewed the Nine Choirs, Dave, and I think I gave it a 4.5.
The follow-up to Nine Choirs, what do you think of this release?
Yeah, it's like I'm almost 100% sure it was a 4.5 for the previous album, and they landed at the right time. I feel like I'm duplicating conversations here. We've reviewed Sanguisugabogg's new album in the same time frame we're reviewing this. And Torture Hole came out right at that right time as well, where I had an itch that I did not know that I needed scratched. And the only thing I could scratch, the only thing I could reach that hard to reach scratch part was old school inspired brutal death metal. And that year was really exciting because we started getting a lot of bands that, the way I've described it is, I think it is the cause and effect of the rise of technical death metal. That has gone so ridiculous at this point that I think the pendulum has to swing back and people have to just get down and get ugly. And that Tribal Gaze album was really, 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 really interesting. Like you say, no airs, no gracies, what its influence is at the forefront. But what was very tight and like super proficient. Like you got like the thing I really like about like old school death metal. When I say old school, I mean like 90s, early 2000 death metal. Is that there is a formula to it, but the way a band can basically, it's like origami. The amount of folds that you can put into death metal to get to the same outcome, like especially in that time, was really, really, really interesting. And those bands have continued that on, which means you're going to get your blast beats, you're going to get your punishing like groove riff, you're going to get your breakdown, you're going to get like a play on a breakdown. You maybe occasionally get like a section which doesn't like which features Middle Eastern music or fucking something like. There's always something brought into the mix as well. And Treble Gaze like just brought on that release anyway, just like a directness that was very refreshing. Like just kind of like we don't quite have the budget for movie samples. We don't quite have the budget for like someone to come in and play the sitar. But what we do have is some guys that can play some bro death metal. So let's go. And that's kind of where this album picks up. Like it really like you can feel it as a step up, but it's not we're on nuclear blast. We need to refine things, lads.
Yeah.
It's not that. If anything, actually, they've thrown a bit more caution to the wind and went a little bit more gung ho, which is kind of exciting. A great example of that. And I'm pointing this out because I don't know if I've ever heard any other band do this. So I was listening to this album, Dave, as is my wont, and I got to the end of my first listen, and it was the Lord of Blasphemy. And to the end of that song, the track kind of brings it in. About, you know where I'm going with this. About 3.5 minutes, which is about the length of every other song on this album. They have a couple of short ones. And it kind of fades out. And I was looking at the time and I was like, this still got half a song left, plus it's faded out. In the back of my head, I was like, Dave hates a fade out. So please tell me like Cheech and Chong come on at the end here and do like na 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 na. And then out of nowhere, the drummer is just like that. You know what? I'm going, guys, you just like, no, I know we've paid for the recording. You go, it's fine, I'll pack up. And he's like, are you still rolling, deal? Right, watch. We just get like this like freestyle kind of death metal jazz outro on the drums. J.K. Simmons is over the top. I'm like fucking come on. Bring it down. It's like death metal whiplash at the end. And I kind of love it because I can't think of any other death metal album. Can't think of many albums actually where that I've ever heard that before. And I kind of love it because it's tribally and it's death metal-y and it's really, 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 really cool. So what I'm saying is they've not went off the reservation, Dave. If anything, actually, they've like doubled down and continued on. But in all seriousness, the big thing for me in Inveighing Brilliance is that the songwriting is leveled up in terms of not only the switching, but the guitar work on this is fucking great. Like riffs for months, Dave. Riffs for months. This is like an advent calendar of riffs. Right? Every day you're opening and you're being treated to something extra spicy. It's surprising. Like they are super tight. I mean, like I can't stress that enough. Very, 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 very tight. And none of the songs are particularly long. I think I'm looking at the listing down here. Notwithstanding the closing song here, which is ostensibly a 3.5 minute track, the longest song here is touching the door of 4 minutes.
Yeah.
You would not expect a band to throw as much into an album with song lengths that length without it sounding like, to quote a former band player of ours, a bag of riffs. Because it doesn't feel like that. Cohesively, the switch-ups are like fucking velvet smooth. Like they just like flow right into them, like just naturally. Another thing I'll say about that, like with those riffs as well, is there's a good mix between the good old-fashioned death metal A little bit of the hardcore in there, a little bit of hardcore punk, which is really fucking cool to hear. Grooves, and then you have your classic kind of breakdown things. But it's not formulaic as well, so that was one of the reasons I liked the previous album. Was it was never I never felt like I was listening to the same song more than once in terms of the exact setup, the exact close, and they've continued that through, but continued it on in a fun way. I also love this that it starts off. I was going to say it starts off strong. Every track is strong. There is a moment towards the end of this album where they're like, "Fuck it, short songs," and you're like, "Hello," like you don't often get like that at all. But basically, if you own the vinyl, Dave, which I imagine you probably will do, the front half of this vinyl, tracks 1 through 5. I mean, it's not particularly long, but you know, there's the tracks that are all about 3.5 minutes. If you listen to the back half of this album, 3 of those songs are under 2 minutes, right? So 3 of the 5 are under 2 minutes, and I kind of like it. It reminded me a little bit of when we were discussing that last Blood Command album.
Mm-hmm.
How they just like were like, you know, this is as long as this song needs to be, so let's not do anything more to it. Well, that's what you get with Ruling in a Land with No God, the irreversible sequence, and the actual title track as well, Unveiling Brilliance. They just throw 3 songs that get progressively shorter, so 1 minute 50, 1 minute 45, 1 minute 30. So they just keep shortening the length, and it really works. I love the production on this as well. I think it gives. There's a veneer of the old about this. It's not too fucked with, you know what I mean? But it doesn't feel like someone has tried to deliberately make. It's not like a black metal album where they deliberately try to make things sound bad. This actually just feels like guys in a room, some good mics, someone sitting at the mixing desk going play, and you know, whatever comes out is probably going to make the final edit. So you get this kind of like very much from mic to headphone without too much fuckery in between. I mean, when you read it, the pedigree of who's recording it, that makes sense. That's kind of what they do. But that works for me as well. I think the other thing... So, seeing death metal bands, I always feel that there's a bit where you get... Not all of them, but there's generally you can easily point to... And when I say weakest, I don't mean they're bad. But there's usually a weak element in a death metal band, right? So either the guitarists are so fucking phenomenal that the drums are great, but they're not as good as the guitarists. Or you listen to it, like, that vocalist is so great, it'd be better if he was in a band that like really accentuated what he... You know what I mean? Like there's always one element where you're like that. It's great collectively together, but the high watermark of the band is this. Tribal Gaze have no weak member, right? Vocally, this is perfect. Right, this is exactly how you want your vocalist to sound. It's not with the Sanguisugabogg thing. It doesn't go into the guttural pig squealy cookie monster thing. It's low traditional death metal. You probably name about 5-6 vocalists that are not too far off the cadence of this guy. Does it incredibly well. The guitar work on here is great. It does exactly what it needs to do. In fact, that whole kind of rhythm section is great, but specifically on the drums. The drums are just traditional, classic death metal drums, and the production that goes with it. So when trying to pick who might be a weak link here, there isn't one, right? So like it all works together, and I think that's why I really gravitate not only to their previous album, but really to this one as well. You sent me, I think it's like a message or something, go out, listen to that, and it was either like a mind blown thing or panting emoji. I can't remember which one it was. Probably both. And I remember being like that. I can't remember them being overtly technical. So why has Dave done this? And I get it. Like I know what you like, and this is it. It's like, you know what I mean? If I was blind testing albums to buy you in isolation, and I heard the first 30 seconds of this, I'd be like that, buying it for Dave. You know what I mean? It's that sort of thing. It fulfills the brief. But I actually think there is something that feels refine's the wrong word, but feels, and mature's also the wrong word, but feels like a move up.
Yeah.
Like it's not just a label that's behind that. There's a confidence on this where the band can deliver about a 30-minute album with no frills, nothing to hide behind. There's no, like, once again, I mentioned like samples and like silliness. Generally, you can hide things behind that. The things you try to hide when you use a sample or things like that is a shorter song. You're like that. We really need this to be 3 minutes. Play a 2-minute sample. You know what I mean? It's that sort of thing. They don't do that. They're not gimmicky at all, and there's something kind of endearing to them on that. When it comes to death metal, this is the death metal I like. I say that a lot when we do bands that sound like this. It's what I gravitate to because it's honest. And I get the feeling that this to me feels like it's guys in a room recording, but I genuinely feel like some of that technical death metal stuff is a guitarist sitting in a room coming up with all that and then kind of almost like dictating to the band what they need to do so he can do that bit. I hate that. It's fucking like a band is a democracy. It's not a fucking. It's not a dictatorship. And because this one, I hear it all, and the kind of the natural drum fills, the way that the grooves just lock in when they need to, but also those moments where you just get like pure blast and it's fucking great, man. I really enjoy it. I don't think the album really puts a step wrong, but it doesn't necessarily swing for anything that would allow them to put a foot wrong. But in a way, I actually kind of appreciate that. I think if you're very, very, very good at what you do, I think sometimes bands are too eager to try and jump on the next thing. And I know you'll be able to dig up reviews where I'm like that. We've had 5 albums, let's do something else. There are examples of that. But I also think if you have managed to capture an old sound in a way where you make it sound relevant, exciting to listen to, but at the same time, kind of almost like you were from that era as well. Why fuck with that? So yeah, like Nuclear Blast have landed a home run with this, like for sure. Like you could put Tribal Gaze on pretty much any death metal tour and it'll work. You could put them in. You put them in other places as well. I was thinking about some of those ones where you get like you get like a Slayer revival or whatnot. Tribal Gaze would sit nice on that as well.
Yeah.
I think they could open for a deathcore band as well comfortably. You know what I mean? You've got a huge swath where they can go in, and they have the clout to do that as a record label.
Yeah.
I get the feeling that Tribal Gaze are about to become a lot of people's new favourite death metal band pretty much overnight because they have a spotlight. And the last thing I'll say, and it's something I don't know if I spent a huge amount of time talking about on the previous release, and I certainly haven't on this one because it isn't overutilized. There is some really fun lead work on here. It's not overused. But when it comes in, it makes the tracks fucking pop. So it's worth saying that as well. So yeah, like this to me, did I think there wasn't anything I thought like they could have just done the last album again and I would have been over the fucking moon. The fact of giving me the last album, but like a more zany and more upfront version of that, it just makes me very happy. I can't I don't know if that's answered the question as to how I got on. I know how you got on because you were panting in the text message that you sent me, but I also think like I say, like to me, when I think Dave and death metal, obviously there's a lot of modern ones I think of, but I also just picture a sound. And this is that sound, like across the board with this production. It's like just this. So I can't imagine you were anything other than overjoyed here. So,
oh, Duncan, I had questions going in, just like I was kind of.
Am I about to be tribal glazed?
Yeah, I know.
You are all over your face, bitch.
But like all of my questions were pretty much answered instantly as soon as I hit play on Inveighing Brilliance. And the album title pretty much gives it away. Like if you thought the 9 choirs delivered the goods, then hold on to your dick because this album is about to rip it off. My God, like we had 5 albums on our review list this week.
We did have 5 albums on our review list, which is only going to get worse the further we get into October, but yes.
And I was like conscious of trying to give them all like my equal attention.
It's just 30 minutes, Dave. That's always a 30-minute album will always win out.
This one grabbed me by the neck and said, "Where are you going? You're going fucking nowhere." Hit that play button again. And the first thing I kind of thought when I hit play was, Jesus Christ, like the production in this fucking slaps. Like this is Taylor Young, like fully at the helm on this album, and my god, like the tones on this are so good, like right across the board.
He's one of those MVP, death
Yeah.
metal producers.
Oh,
He like
like
he knows what to do, and
nailed
you're
it.
in a safe pair of hands.
Nailed it. Like guitar wise, like yeah, it's got like a really nice balance of this kind of like almost kind of vintagey, but kind of modern at the same time. Like I think there's I listen back to the Nine Choirs. There's maybe a little more top end on the guitar on this album, compared to the Nine Choirs, but still comes with this like huge, disgusting weight to it. Like just and every time they hit a chug on the guitar, it just hits you right in the chest, and it's like, so good. The drums are fucking nuts, man. Like the snare has been cranked just a bit. Like there's a slightly higher pitch in the snare on this album, and it just like cuts right through the mix. But it also accentuates that groove even more. Like they have this kind of mechanical precision to them, but still feels completely organic at the same time, which is amazing. And vocally, yeah, it still has that kind of that aura of the 90s, like the mix and the kind of coating of reverb. But I really like the placement of the vocals on this album. I feel like they're ever so slightly further forward in the mix,
Yeah.
which makes them feel even more aggressive. Like you can almost like feel his breath on your face when you're listening to it. But like overall production wise, I felt like this is ace. Like a touch more detail in there. It's still dank, but not quite as kind of foggy sounding, I suppose. Like I really like it, but I also really like the music that's backing it up, because this is a Tribal Gaze album, no doubt. The hallmarks are all over this, but also hears them elevate that sound into something. There's something more deliberate about this. It's definitely more punishing than the last album, and I think it's actually more memorable than the previous release as well. And that's like right from the off on this. The Nine Choirs opened with. It opened with, I think, maybe one of the longest songs on the album. I think it was Cold Devotion. I think it was called. It was like 6.5 minutes, and it was this kind of like mid-paced kind of bruiser of a track. This time, like they're flipping it, and it's like no 2 minute ripper to open this album, Smiling from the Chariots, and it's like everything just feels tighter, like more succinct. The intensity is just the dial is ramped right up, and in that 2 minutes, they pretty much give you everything. Like you've got the ride cymbal grooves, you've got the kind of doomy kind of chugs, you've got these kind of almost like hardcore tinged kind of gallops to some of the track, some of the riffs, and like these crushing halftime moments as well. And based on that track alone, like someone was telling me I was in for a good time, and by God, did this deliver? Like, and I did message you, like I was halfway through the album, I was like, just sent you like an exploding head gif, and I was
That's
like,
what.
oh my god, like, and it just gets better as it goes on. Like this is more of a level up than a follow up to the Nine Choirs. This is so fucking good. Every track had a moment on it where I was just like, I just was laughing out loud at just like how ridiculous is this? How fucking insane is this album? The riffs just floored me. Like they just like they fucking just fire them at you. Like they don't play riffs on this album. They like throw them at you like bricks through your living room window. Like it's just the switches, the turns that they take. Like the sheer weight of this album is insane. But there's also a level of like meticulosity. Is that a word? I don't know if that's a word. But
Now is.
it's
Yeah.
attention to detail is what I should have said there. Is much more kind of noticeable on this one. And like I loved the last album. I thought the Nine Choirs was awesome, but there are parts of this that feel just like I don't know. Like the previous album had these sections on it where it felt like transitional or like like something to get them from A to B.
Yep.
But like this is just there's no loose parts on this. It's so fucking tight. And every track has some kind of payoff on it, like a huge riff or a huge groove. And you're almost like you're always impressed by how they got there, but then the payoff is this like, oh man, this is just unbelievable. Like I can imagine the two guitarists sitting there writing these parts and just being like, yeah, this part is good, but wait till you hear where it leads
Yeah.
to, because it's
As,
like,
as musicians having fun writing music, you can
yeah,
tell all the way through it. It's like you can see the smells, you can see the nods in the writing room. You know
oh
what I
yeah,
mean?
like it never loses momentum, this album at all. Like never gets sloppy. Like every transition feels earned, never forced. And they give you like there's a sense of kind of a narrative kind of flow to the album as well. I was so like locked into this for the runtime. It's like 32 minutes, perfect length album.
Hmm.
And it's one of those albums that finish and you're just like, yep, I'm just going to play that
Yeah. Again.
all over again. I never had any kind of like feeling of burnout or exhaustion. Like they've written this in a way that feels really addictive, really moreish, and you just want to spin it again. Every riff is like lethal. The drums are just so like thunderous on this album, but again, as I said, with this kind of real kind of like precision to them, and the vocals just are like venom, just real clarity in the vocals. Actually, it cuts through the mix really, really well. I think McKenna Holland sounds like deadly on this. His vocal is really just so malevolent, like comes from the gut, but the tone is just fucking brilliant. The guttural stuff's like really nasty, but I also loved there was kind of moments where they layer up some of the vocals where you've got like
Hmm.
two kind of different tones together, just and it gives it this more of an attack, I suppose. Sometimes it can be quite subtle, but it really works on the album. But like for me, there was just so many highlights. Like it was really difficult to pick like a favorite track. They were all just so memorable. Like I think there's like a kind of 1-2 kind of punch of Garden the Illusion into the Spoils of Faith.
Mm.
Might be one of my favorite sections on the album. Just both tracks just brimming with like quality riffs, but the switch ups and the tempo changes are just so well done. To the Spoils of Faith has in particular some great moments, like those big like whammy bar kind of bends are just ridiculous on that track. But there's a part in the middle actually where they go like straight kind of like 4/4 groove, and Caesar the drummer, he actually closes his hi-hats just, and it kind of accentuates that groove even more. Very
Mm.
simple, but like just it just had me totally like locked in and headbanging along.
Oh, he loves it. He loves a tom roll as well. He
Oh
loves
yeah,
like I feel like there's every time it comes in. I'm like, and it's so well produced as well. The
yeah,
drums are so roomy.
yeah.
As the other
Oh,
thing I was going to say before, like get your take on it as well. The lazy approach to this would be to like slightly trigger these bass drums, and they don't do that. And I
no.
think had they done it, it would fucking ruin it.
Yeah,
Um,
they don't overdo it at all. Not and not every track. Like I feel like a lot of bands like feel the need to like let's end the song on like has to end with a big
yeah.
breakdown, like or some sort of dissonant riff. But sometimes something really simple and
Hmm.
head nodding works just as well. There's one at the end of I think it's Draped in Piercing Radiance, I think is the track.
Hmm.
It's like it's not a complex riff they use at all, but it fucks hard. Like
Yeah.
just like so fucking good. You feel yourself just want to kind of nod along to it. Same with the irreversible sequence. Like
Mm.
guitars are so thick sounding. Like
Yeah.
oh, you could spread them on toast. I mean, like just ridiculous. I want to come back to the last track though, Lord of Blasphemy,
Yeah.
which is like as a track like grotesquely heavy, groovy.
You bet. Like, let me tell you, they left the recording studio and Davey picked up the drums at the end and the last. So you can tell me
Yeah.
that.
It's got a lot of that kind of 90s kind of Morbid Angel to it.
Yeah.
And then obviously the track finishes, there's a gap and the drums come in on their own.
Yes.
And for me, that definitely felt like kind of paying homage to that kind of 90s era of death metal.
Mm.
In particular, I'd say Pete Sandoval of Morbid Angel, who often had like these bits of isolated drumming on releases. Like he did that with Morbid
At
Angel
the
back.
end,
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes it
like,
was in the middle of middle of an album. They had oh, I think it was with Heretic. Yeah,
but
there's a
no
track.
hidden tracks of drums here at the end of the last one.
No, that there's a track on Heretic. I think it's called Drum Check. I think, and
All
it's
right.
just him, like just kind of like just going to town on the kit, nothing else,
Yeah.
just him. But I'm sure he played with Terrorizer as well, and I'm sure there's a track on one of the Terrorizer albums when he does that as well. It's just like
Ah,
pure
giving the
drums.
drummer his props. I like it.
So I'm not 100% sure if that is like what they were doing there, but it felt very
Let's
much.
say it is, Dave.
Yeah, it
Let's.
felt
Well,
like
you
that.
know what? As soon as we put it on the internet, It is.
Fuck it.
It's fact. It'll be on the Wikipedia.
Yeah, this is like, for me, this is one of like my favorite death metal releases I've heard this year. Like, no filler on this at all. Like, just every track is fucking killing it. Like, just absolutely rips from start to finish. I love this. I had a fucking great time with this album. They definitely made a name for themselves on that previous album.
Yeah.
Like, it was kind of raw and kind of like groove laden, but I feel like they've evolved into something a bit more dangerous here, a bit more calculated and confident, and just completely relentless. I wasn't sure, like, could they outdo that previous album, but yeah, they absolutely have. Like, this is awesome. Love this. Scores. Where are you going on this one?
Yeah, so like I mentioned before, we're in the same recording night as the brand new Sanguisugabogg album, and had you told me in advance of this, by the way, we're going to be doing Tribal Gaze and Sanguisugabogg in the same recording night, I would have probably said that Sanguisugabogg was likely to get my 5 just by the chart that they have going.
Yeah.
And Tribal Gaze, if they continued the 4.5, I'd be over the moon. And weirdly enough, Tribal Gaze is going to rock in here with a 5, and Sanguisugabogg got the 4.5. So like complete inverse, and for different reasons.
Yeah.
Like Tribal Gaze, like have delivered the perfect follow up. And that's not to diminish the other death metal band who do now sound noticeably different.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like Tribal Gaze nailed this follow up, like completely. Yeah. They knew what the brief was, they went right in it. Whereas I think it will take me more time to get my head around and get accustomed to the new, much more serious, much more focused, much more fucking brutal Sanguisugabogg album. Yeah, if you're a death metal fan and you don't love this, you're not a death metal fan. So it's as simple as that. 5.
Nice. Yeah, like, put this band on the global watch list, Duncan, because they just weaponized this shit. As a 5 from me, this is fucking awesome. I will be playing this a lot for the rest of the year. So Tribal Gaze, brand new album out on Nuclear Blast Records on the 17th of October. Check out the links to the band, the pre-order, one of the singles, have a listen, see what you think. It's fucking awesome, but let us know. Stick your comments in below. That is a review. Thank you for checking out. We'll be back with another review very soon, but until then, take care. Catch you in the next one.
Bye, everyone. Scream behind it.